Book 1, Earth's Core. Chapter 5, The Next 849 Years, Part 3. It took a year for the Ugin to finally accomplish the creation of a new weapon that surpasses in firepower the beam cannon and in close combat maneuvers the Thousand Blades Dancer. No core breaker or known formations were able to match up to it, and with that, the Ugin pushed back Kingdom Earth's forces with one and only drawback. The new S-class weapon, suitable for long-range and close-range battles, Victorious, operated only 13 hours before the numerous formations could no longer cope with the smoke energy's resistance and were shattered, allowing the remaining 20% of the energy's original amount to eat through its container and ran out. Nonetheless, the Ugin converted 80% of its caves into labor caves, 9 of which held great deposits of peril metal. Losing the war, there was nothing in Kingdom Earth's power to do. Even their special unit of 17 mist users at the bottleneck of the core breaker level was powerless against 1 or 2 Victorious. Many first died on the battlefield, and as the Ugin pushed beyond Kingdom Earth's boundaries and took over their surrounding caves, a lot of Kingdom Earth's citizens that refused the rule of the foreign occupation also died miserably. Year 5391. The Ugin subjugates the occupied caves, 42 in total, to constant search for peril metal and Earth's cores. On the outskirts of conquered cave number 92 a battle is about to commence. Led by Donnie Dan, previously one of the Council of 10, a group of mist users that formed the Kingdom Earth Resistance, giving everything they have got to perform altogether the Ultimate Breaker's Soul Defense formation in preparation to block the incoming wave of 30 Victorious. Behind them, enslaved citizens of Kingdom Earth escaping across the broken parts of their former machine guards, close-range C-class weapon IWJ, Iron Whip Jailer, before the clash between the Resistance and the Victorious reinforcements will take place. Commander Donnie, the 10 pillars are arranged around the work camp and the tunnel entrance. The 11-man channels has been set and the rest are prepared to pour their energy to the Ultimate Breaker's Soul Defense formation at your command. Don's lieutenant, a bulky man named Rudolph Bree, spoke in a hurry. The Victorious legs were sharp like pen's nibs. They generated so much power that the machines moved a few centimeters above the ground and were less than 5 kilometers away from them, and from that distance their one and only red eye was already visible, scanning its targets. Activate the formation. Dan gave the order with an expressionless face. 13 hours, that is how long they must hold on. Currently, 43 mist users operate the formation, half of which are Earth's core holders. To his estimation they can keep the formation for 9 to 10 hours, but not too far from them another group of 20 mist users from the Resistance help evacuate the rest of the captives and make sure all the IWJs were destroyed. If together, they will be able to sustain the formation for another 2.5 hours. Afterwards he alone will be capable to obstruct the Victorious until their energy will run out, that is, as long no more will arrive. While 21 mist users concentrated on the formation's structure, 22 raised their hands, 2 pairs of hands towards each channel, and released their aura. Dan sat with legs crossed and meditated. He was so close. A second? A day? A year? He could not clearly tell. 2 years ago silvery particles have started to appear here and there in his mist energy, and when he released it in the form of an aura the dark white color was almost sparkling. He wished for the breakthrough now more than ever. Surpassing one's current level is a lot harder than reaching the peak of a new one, and Dan believed that if he will train hard enough and follow the instruction left by the Supreme Rulers he could reach the late phase of the Mist Master level in 20 to 30 years after the not-so-far-away breakthrough and attain the power to fight evenly with the Victorious. Commander! A cry for help awakened Dan from his meditative state. His eyes opened slowly, his face turned to his lieutenant and he gasped. Hold on. Dan ordered. 6 hours have passed and the Victorious managed to break one of the pillars, resulting in one unconscious mist user and a trembling Ultimate Breaker's Soul Defense formation. Dan had no time asking how? Or why. He had to move fast to rebuild the pillar with his mist energy while using his own physical strength to support the formation. He could have instructed to recreate the formation from scratch, but then the victorious would have taken the chance to strike back. Now, the vile metallic beings already adapted to the formation's offensive effect, countering any close-range attacks with equal strength in the form of a shockwave. By charging the barrels on their two bottom arms and constantly shooting orange beams at the formation's pillars, they used energy-based attack to assault from afar. Dan felt as though he carries the formation's whole weight. Every time a new crack emerged on one of the other pillars, he immediately increased the output of his mist energy to mend it. Another hour passed. 2 additional pillars broke down and the formation shrank, permitting the victorious to either go above the defensive formation to pass through the tunnel after the escapees or keep shooting until the last layer of defense around the mist users will fall apart. Obviously, killing the mist users was a top priority. After 8 hours and 41 minutes, the formation shattered to thousands of pieces like blue glass. The victorious lowered the barrels, swung forward their upper arms, holding in each hand a double-edged sword made from refined metal, and surged ahead at high speed. Ugh, victorious, if this is my end, my soul will not rest until your demise. Dan cursed. Retreat, everyone, take the injured and run. He turned around and shouted. But then, a green silhouette elapsed through his eyes, coming from the other side of the tunnel, so fast, yet without making the slightest sound in the air. By the time he and the other mist users turned their heads again, the green silhouette was already about to clash with the nearest victorious. That is, Dan at last recognized. His heart pounded and his eyes became moist. Right there, in the mere second, the green silhouette and the victorious stopped for an exchange of blows, which were counted in the thousands. Dan opened his mouth and said in awe, "Supreme Ruler Jid Chutakata." A golden light suddenly wrapped Jid, and in a flash he moved 20 meters away from the victorious, in his hand one of its swords. A condense explosion then followed and the other victorious circled around him. "Commander Dan, are my eyes deceiving me?" a fairly young mist user asked. For him the entities known as the Supreme Rulers existed only in history books and his seniors' tales of the past. That one man fought with a victorious and won so effortlessly. "Maxim, he is our Supreme Ruler Jid Chutakata." Dan felt the need to say the name again. The mentioning of the name for the first time filled him with vigor, and the second time gave him back his fighting spirit. He should not be referred to as that man. He scolded with a smile. "Yes, Commander, I apologize, Supreme Ruler." Maxim bowed toward the not-so-distant figure of Supreme Ruler Jid, then continued saying with sparkling eyes, "I still cannot believe it, sir. All I saw when I turned around was the victorious explode. I ashamed to say that even I hardly seen anything, Commander." Rudolph joined in the conversation. "Indeed, even after so many years, the Supreme Rulers were always at the peak of humanity. I, myself, could barely keep up with that fight," Dan admitted. "From what I saw, Supreme Ruler Jid forced the victorious to stand guard. Then, during their intense exchange, he managed to get a hold of one of the victorious's swords and used it to finish it and escaped before the explosion occurred." In truth, the sequence of events could have been described in an entirely different way. As he approached, Jid simply saw an interesting blade carried by a lifeless machine with a strange energy signature, so he took the blade, familiarized with it, and tested a killing blow on the closest thing around. Was there truly a fight? "Youngster Danny," a gentle, feminine voice sounded from the tunnel. With tears streaming down his cheeks, Don's voice called, "Supreme Ruler Thray," and after he saw the one behind her, his feet succumbed and his knees touched the ground. "Supreme Ruler Ariel." Dan, Rudolph and 5 other elderly mist users felt as though they were lost children, finally found by the big brother they admire who is escorted by their loving parents. With the return of the Supreme Ruler's kingdom, Earth has quickly turned the tide against the Ugn. In fact, with their new level of power, Supreme Rulers Thray and Jid alone were enough to annihilate the Ugn in no longer than 2 months. Suffice to say, no one was left alive this time. The Supreme Rulers did acknowledge the value of the metal, but shunned the ways the Ugn's scientists and engineers put it to use. For that one reason, and because over time the Ugin brainwashed the minds of its essential personnel, they got rid of them, too. Thus, 76 years of war has ended. And from there to the present year, 5775, in the new Earth's calendar, right after humanity was united by one sovereign rule, that of the supreme rulers, the rehabilitation process for the complete territory of Kingdom Earth has begun. Starting with tending the earth of many caves that were ravaged for peril metal and Earth's cores and the people who were forced for hard labor and other victims of the war, to building vital structures such as hospitals, shelters, even schools for all ages to pass on the supreme ruler's ideals and teachings and so on. In little than 20 years the new established society and humanity's territory regarded the war as the dark century, and with each new generation the scars of those years has faded little by little. Year 5775. Kingdom Earth's number of caves, 512. Number of nature reserves caves, 200. Number of populated caves, 181. Total population number, 100,360,405. Total number of troops, 90,000 Earth's core holders, serving, 50,000 core breakers, serving, 3,000 mist masters, serving, 2 mist lords, supreme ruler Thrain, supreme ruler Jid, core master, supreme ruler Ariel. Year 5775, January 1st. Kingdom Earth's population number, 100,360,406.